Kori. Oh, he Vaishnava Thakura, Doya Sagara, Dasi Karuna Kori. Diya Pada Jaya, Shuddha Heya Maya, Tomara Charana Dhuri. Jaya Mega Dumi, Jaya Dosha Shodhi, Jaya Guna Devo Dasi. Jaya Satsanga, Deho Heya Mare, Moshiji Sangera.
ऊज्ज्वलवर्णा ऊज्ज्वलवर्णा गुरवरदेहं विरसितनिरवधि भावविधेहम् বিভাবরে শেষ আলোক প্রবেশ নিদ্রা ছাড়ি উঠ জীবা বিভাবরে শেষ আলোক প্রবেশ নিদ্রা ছাড়ি উঠ জীবা बोल हरि हरि मुकुंद मुरारी राम कृष्ण हयग्रीव बोल हरि हरि मुरारी राम कृष्ण हयग्रीव नृसिंह वामन श्री मधुसूदन ब्रजेन्द्र नंदन श्याम वामन श्री मधुसूदन ब्रजेन्द्र नंदन श्याम पूतन घाटन कैतव साधन जय दासरथी राम पूतन घाटन कैतव साधन जय दाशरथी राम यशोदा दुलाल गोविंद गोपाल वृंदावन पुरंदर यशोदा दुलाल गोविंद गोपाल वृंदावन पुरंदर गोपी प्रिया जन राधिका रमन भुवन सुंदर वर गोपी प्रिया जन राधिका रमन भुवन सुंदर वर रावणंतकर माखन तस्कर गोपी जन वस्त्रहारी रावणंतकर माखन तस्कर मस्तहारी ब्रजेरा राखाला गोप वृंदापाला चित्तहरी बंशीधारी ब्रजेरा राखाला गोप वृंदापाला चित्तहरी बंशीधारी योगींद्र वंदन श्रीनंद नंदन ब्रजजन भयहारी योगींद्र वंदन श्रीनंद नंदन ब्रजजन भयहारी नवीन नीरद रूप मनोहर मोहन वंशी बिहारी नवीन नीरद रूप मनोहर मोहन वंशी बिहारी यशोदानंदन कंस निसूदन निकुंज रास विलासी यशोदानंदन कंस निसूदन निकुंज रास विलासी कदम्ब कानन रास परायण वृंदा विपिन निवासी कदम्ब कानन रास परायण वृंदा विपिन निवासी आनंद वर्धन प्रेम निकेतन फूल सराज का काम आनंद वर्धन प्रेम निकेतन फूल सराज का काम गोपांगना गणा चित्त विनोदन समस्त गुणगान धाम गोपांगना गणा चित्त विनोदन समस्त गुणगान धाम जमुना जीवन गिरि परायण मानस चंद्र चकोर जमुना जीवन गिरि परायण मानस चंद्र चकोर नाम सुतारस गाओ कृष्ण जस राखो वचन मन मोर जस गाथो वचन मन मोर विभावरी सुस आलोक प्रवेश विभावरी सुस आलोक प्रवेश निद्रा छाड़ी उठो जीव जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय महाप्रभु महाप्रभु जय महाप्रभु महाप्रभु जय महाप्रभु महाप्रभु जय महाप्रभु जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय 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 प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताई गौर हरि बोल.
Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme, Taraka Brahma Yoga. Atha Ashtamo Jhayaha Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adi Bhutam Cha Kim Proktam Adi Daivam Kim Uchyate Adi Yagna Katham Kotra Dehesmin Madhusudana Prayana Kale Cha Katham
Neyosi Niyatatmabhi Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhavodhyatmam Uchyate Bhuta Bhavod Bhavakaro Visarga Karma Samnita Adibhutam Sharo Bhava
Purushaschadi Daivatam Adi Yagnohamivatra Dehe Dehabhritam Vara Antakale Cha Mameva Smaran Muktva Kalevaram Ya Prayati Samadbhavam Yati Nastyatra Samshayaha Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyachatyante Kalevaram Tam Tamevaiti Kaunteya Sada Tadbhava Bhavitaha Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmara Yudhyacha Mayarpita Mano Buddhir Mame Vaishyasya Samshayaha Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasa Nanya Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanuchintayan Kavim Puranam Anushashitaram Anoraniyam Shamanusmaredyaha Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva भ्रुवोर्मध्ये प्राणमाविश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषमुपैति दिव्यं यदक्षरं वेदविदो वदन्ति विशन्ति यद्यतयो वीतरागः यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं सङ्ग्रहेण प्रवक्ष्ये सर्वद्वाराणि संयम्य मनोहृदि निरुध्य च मूर्धान्याध्यात्मना प्राणम् आस्थितो योगधारणम् ओमिति एकाक्षरं ब्रह्म व्याहरन् माम् अनुस्मरन् य प्रयाति त्यजन् देहं स याति परमां गतिम् अनन्यचेत सततं यो मां स्मरति नित्यसः तस्याहं सुलभ पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालयम् अशाश्वतं नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गता आब्रह्मा भुवनाल्लोका पुनरावर्तिनोऽर्जुन मामुपेत्य तु कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सहस्रयुगपर्यन्तम् अहद्यत् ब्रह्मणो विदुः रात्रिं युगसहस्रान्तं केहोरात्रविदो जना अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वा प्रभवन्ति यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसंज्ञके भूतग्रामस एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वश पार्थ प्रभवत्यः रागमे परस्तस्मात्तु भावोऽन्यो व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यः स सर्वेषु भूतेषु न सत्स्यु न विनश्यति अव्यक्तोऽक्षर इत्युक्तस्तम् आहुः परमां गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम पुरुषा सा परा पार्थ भक्त्या लभ्यस्त्वनन्यया यस्यान्तस्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वम् इदं ततं यत्र काले त्वनावृत्तिम् आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयातयान्ति तं कालं वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभा अग्निर्ज्योतिरहः शुक्लः षण्मास उत्तरायणं तत्र प्रयात गच्छन्ति ब्रह्म ब्रह्मविदो जना धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्ण षण्मास दक्षिणायनं तत्र चन्द्रमसं ज्योतिर्योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते शुक्लकृष्णे गतिह्येते जगतः शाश्वते मते एकया यात्यनावृत्तिम् अन्यया वर्तते पुनः नैते श्रुति पार्थ जानान् योगी मुह्यति कश्चन तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु योगयुक्तो भवार्जुन वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपैति चाद्यम् ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे तारकब्रह्मयोगो नाम अष्टमोऽध्यायः हरि ओम Divinity and Divine Service. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, Divinity and Divine Service.
Vyasa uvacha iti samprashna samhishto vipranamyo maharshini pratipuja vadashtesham pravaktum upachakrave sutta uvacha yam pravajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano virahakartara ajuhava putreti tam mayataya taravo binedus tam sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepam apitishti satam tamonadam samsarinam karunaya gurana guhyam tam vyasasurnam upayami guru muninam Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamutiraye munaya sadhupishtoham bhavadbhilokamangalam yakita Krishna samprashno yenatma suprasidati savaibhum samparo dharmo Yatho bhakti ratho shajay ahaitukya pritiyata yayatma suprasidati Vasudeva bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojita janayatyashu vairagyam jnanam chaya mahaitukam dharma svanustita pumsam vishvakshena katasuya Notpadayet yatiratim shamahi vahi kevalam dharmasya yapavargasya nartotayopakalpate nartasya dharmaikantasya kamalabhaya hismita kamasya nindriyapiti labho jivetayavata Jivasya tattva jignasa nato yasyeha karmabhi vadanti tat tattva vidhas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramadmeti bhagavaniti sabdyate takcha tadana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyanti atmani jatmanam Bhaktya Shudra Grihitaya Atha Bhumid Vidashesha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Swanustitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhim Haritoshanam Tasmadekena Manasa Bhagavan Sattvatampati Shrotavya Kirtitavyasya Teya pujasya nityadha Yadha nusisina yukta Karma ganti nibandhana Chindanti kovidastasya Kona kuyat gadaratim Shushusho shadadhanasya Vasudeva gadaruchi Sanmahatsevaya vibra Punyatita nishivanat Shinvatam swagata Krishna Punya shavana kirtana Hidyantastohya bhadrani Vidunoti suhitsatam Nashtaprayeshu bhakteshu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhakti bhavati naishtiki Tadha rajasamo bhava Kamalobhadayaschaye Cetaite anavidham Stitam sattve prasidati Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad bhakti yogata Bhagavad tattva vijnanam Mukta sangasya jayate Vidyate hidaya gantis चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशया क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृश्यैवात्मनीश्वरे अतो वैकवयो नित्यं भक्तिं परमयामुधा वासुदेवे भगवती कुर्वन्त्यात्मा प्रसादनीं सत्वं रजस्पद्म इति कृते गुणस्थे युक्ता परा परुषप्यिकैहास्य धाते स्थित्यादये हरिविरिञ्चि हरेति संज्ञा श्रेयांसि तत्तकलतत्त्वतनोर्निनं सु पार्थिवादरनो धूमस्तस्मादग्निस्तयि मया तमसस्तु रजस्तस्मात् सत्वं यद्ब्रह्मदर्शनं भेजिरे मुनयो तागे भगवन्तं मधुक्षजं सत्वं विशुद्धं क्षेमाया कल्पन्ते ये नुतानिह मुमुक्षवो गौररूपं हित्वा भूतपतिनता नारायणकलाशान्ता भजन्ति अनुसूयवा यत्समभक्तितया समशीला भजन्ति वै पितृभूता प्रजेशाधिन् श्रियैश्वर्या प्रजेप्सवा वासुदेवा परावेदा वासुदेवा परामघा वासुदेवा परायोगा वासुदेवा पराक्रिया वासुदेवा परं ज्ञानं वासुदेवा परं तपः वासुदेवा परो धर्मो वासुदेवा परागतिः स एवेदं ससजगे भगवानात्ममायया सदसद्रूपया चाशो गुणमया गुणो विभु तया विलासितेषु गुणेषु गुणवानिव तप्रविष्टा भाति विज्ञानेन विजिम्बिता यथा हि अवतो वानिर्दारुष्वेका स्वयोनिषु नानेवा भाति विश्वात्मा भूतेषु च तथा पुमान् असौ गुणमये भावे भूतसूक्ष्मेन्द्रियात्मभिः सर्वनिर्मेषु निर्विष्टो भुङ्क्ते भूतेषु तद्गुणान् पावयति सत्त्वेन लोकान् वा लोकभावना लीलावतारनुरतो देवतीर्या नरादिषु इति श्रीमद्भगवते महापुराणे परमहंस्यां संहितायां ब्रह्मस्कन्धे नैमिषोपाख्याने द्वितीयोऽध्यायः हरि ओम्
If we can put the asanas, we can have the Bhagavatam class now. Hare Krishna. We are experiencing so much of separation from His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, but somehow or other we will try to continue whatever he did. So by continuing that tradition, we will remember him in our thoughts, in our minds, and begging for the blessings from Sri Vrindavan Dham. We can do the Jai Radha Madhava. Thank you. We'll try to follow the tune. I know it's hard, but we will try and remember him and sing with enthusiasm. And as His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu says, this song, Jai Radha Madhava, is the song that is sung in the spiritual world. This is written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If you see, there are names, different names of Krishna. And you can think of this as welcoming Krishna into whatever arena he's entering. And all the devotees are clapping, singing, and then beating the kettle drums, whatever is needed to just welcome Radha, Krishna, and all associates, Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and everybody into this Sri Vrindavan Dham arena. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajjana Ranjana Yashoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadujayam Dirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Can we do a short Mangala Charana, Prabhu, please? We invoke the blessings of all our acharyas, all the way to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Shri Radha Madan Mohan. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nitai namineche nam verhate shraddhamulya nam dite chere. Nitai namineche Nam verhate Shraddhamulya nam dite chere. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I wanted to thank all the devotees who have come here. You're not ordinary people, because in the big scheme of this world, the things that are going, it's very, very rare to find a person who is interested in spiritual knowledge. Even amongst those who are interested in spiritual knowledge, one who can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is even more rare. And those who understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to follow in the path of bhakti, devotional service, in the chanting of the holy names, and in the footsteps of Sri Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada, is even rare. And amongst those who are following that, the one who come to the morning class, sit in the Bhagavatam class, or on Zoom, or online somewhere, it's the rarest of the rarest of the rare. And today's class I wouldn't call it as a class, but let's see it as a discussion or a sharing session. Whatever I have read or whatever I heard from the teachers, I just wanted to share and present for this audience and online audience as well. And I feel that if a small child comes to know of something, and then you know how excited they are to share with their friends, with their parents, and with their family, they just become, oh, I want to share, I want to share. Today I feel like that, because it's not that I know something, but it's just the topics of Krishna are like that, you know. They are so fulfilling that any person who even reads a drop of the pastimes of Krishna, they feel so much overwhelmed within their heart, bubbling with joy, that they want to go and share with other people. So following in that mood, please forgive me if I if I get overjoyed and enthusiastic. But I really wanted to share. Okay. Thank you. I also wanted to thank Gandharvika Mataji for giving me this opportunity to speak something. So the topic that I was thinking today was that tomorrow is Kartik, and everybody is going to speak about Krishna's pastimes. And I wanted to share that aspect of about Krishna's pastime on how the setting of the stage happens before Krishna actually appears. And this starts from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter. Krishna is setting the scene for his appearance. So you can think of this as, have you organized or saw a play or arranged a play? You must have, right? Some play or a drama or something. So even before the drama comes, what are the first most important things that we need? Any guesses? If you have mics, Mataji, if we can please pass the mics on. Oh, thank you. So somebody said actors, because they don't have a microphone, so I'm repeating. Somebody said actors. Yes, the most important thing is the actors. What else? Script. Oh, yes, script.
Stage.
Stage, yes. The scene. Set the scene. Huh? Okay, the set. She's saying the technical theater set. Yes, definitely. Anything else? We are forgetting the director. The script is there, and also we need the director who brings everybody together, because I've seen Radhika Prema Mataji arrange plays. It's very difficult to bring everybody together. But then we also need a director. So when Krishna appears in this world, as he descends, he doesn't appear, but he descends himself. It's not an incarnation. He personally appears. And when he descends into this world, then exactly same elements, or maybe a little bit more elements are needed for Krishna's appearance to happen. So, first of all, this is all given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto. And this is the 10th canto, first chapter. We should always also be grateful for the person who recorded this scene, right? Shukadeva Goswami narrated this scene, how Krishna appeared in this world. And how did he start narrating this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter? So, as you know, Parikshit Maharaj was listening to the instructions of Shukadeva Goswami. So in the 9th canto of Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj gives like a fast track, you know. He describes the Sun dynasty in the first part of the 9th canto. And second part of the 9th canto, he talks about the Moon dynasty. Who appeared in Moon dynasty, by the way? Krishna, yeah. I mean, you're all very, very intelligent people, but I'm just trying to remind myself, was it Rama or Krishna? Anyway, so Krishna appeared in the Moon dynasty. And Shukadeva Goswami goes to a great length explaining the kings from where the Moon dynasty began, all the way down till Krishna's birth. So it started from Buddha, Buddha who is the moon god, and he's the grandson of Brahma, and from Buddha and Ila comes Pururava, and from Pururava comes Yayati. From Yayati comes the sons of Yayati, which is Puru, Yadu, and everybody. And from Yadu's dynasty comes Krishna. So there's a long list of kings in between, but I'm just skipping all of those. But how Krishna is orchestrated in such a way that he comes into the dynasty of Yadu. So Shukadeva Goswami explains all of that. And then, in the last chapter of the 9th canto, Shukadeva Goswami gives Krishna's pastimes in just 2 or 3 shlokas, fast track, like Krishna came, he was born in Mathura, he was taken to Vrindavan, he performed his pastimes, he had so many children, and his dynasty was this, just 2 verses. So you should now think of how Parikshit Maharaj, by this time, he only had 7 days to live. And he's listening Srimad Bhagavatam, and so he's up till the 10th canto. So, how fatigued he must be. Why would he be fatigued? He's having 3 meals a day, right? No. He didn't even take a drop of water. So when he explained those Krishna's pastime in 2 verses, he was testing Parikshit Maharaj to see how much enthusiasm does he have. So what happened after he heard those in 2 or 3 shlokas, now Parikshit Maharaj is asking a question to Shukadeva Goswami. We can go, Mataji, to the 10th canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. We won't cover the entire chapter, but we can take some aspects and important shlokas we can cover. So in the 1st chapter, 1st verse translation, if you can show the translation, it says, King Parikshit said, can somebody read those translations if you can?
King Parikshit said, My dear Lord, you have elaborately described the dynasties of both the moon god and the sun god, with the exalted and wonderful character of their kings.
Next verse. Mataji, we can skip the purports. We will, if you can only have the translations, please. Okay, so while Mataji is bringing it up, we can see how the next verse, it says that he's actually first, Parikshit Maharaj is glorifying Shukadeva Goswami, and he's saying that you have described the descendants of Yadu, who are very pious and strictly adherent to religious principles. Now, if you will kindly describe the wonderful and glorious activities of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, who appeared in that Yadu dynasty with Baladev and his plenary portions. So now, this is the first question he's asking. So, Krishna, when you are actually in the spiritual life, and you take shelter of a spiritual master, it's not that only the disciple tests the spiritual master to see if I can take shelter of the spiritual master, but the spiritual master constantly tests the disciple to see how enthusiastic they are. So here, Parikshit Maharaj passed his test because he didn't just say, okay, I heard Krishna's pastimes, now I only have 7 days, come on, go faster. No, he's saying like, please describe in more detail the wonderful pastimes of Krishna. So when Shukadeva Goswami heard that, he actually became very, very happy. And then we'll see in the next verses how Shukadeva Goswami becomes very enthusiastic after hearing a question. Because if there is a monologue and there is no participation from the audience, the speaker doesn't understand if more needs to be given or not. But when he heard that question, Shukadeva Goswami actually enthusiastically started speaking. The next verse, text 3, 4. Next verse, Mataji. Or maybe I can go from my phone. Okay, we are having some technical difficulties, looks like. Huh? Yeah, fourth verse. Okay. Maybe I can read from Vedabase until that is being... Oh, it's on. Okay. Translation of the text verse. Okay, sorry. Before we go to the translation, this is a beautiful, beautiful verse. We can recite the Sanskrit as well. Nirvritta tarshairupagiyamanad bhavaushadachotra manobhiramad ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajyeta vina pashugnat. Okay, so now this says, the translation says that, who can hear the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam? That is one who is nirvritta tarshay, who are actually above the attachments to this material contamination of material world. And then these pastimes that are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, they are actually bhava aushada. Aushada means, you all know, right? Medicine. And bhava aushada means the medicine to cross this bhava. Bhava means the ocean of material existence. And you know that medicine, it cannot be taken all at once. Let's say if you are suffering from some fever or something, and the doctor prescribes you an antibiotics, 7-day course, 5-day course or something. You cannot say that, okay, I got the 5-day course, let me finish all at one time, and I'll cure the disease. No, right? You have to take medicine at a certain dose. This Bhagavatam is that medicine, this Bhava Aushada, which can be taken any amount of quantity. And there is no problem. And also this medicine is not bitter like most of the medicines, I'm assuming. But it is sweet. So this Bhava Aushada, this medicine of the pastimes of Krishna can be taken so many times, unlimitedly, with very, very sweet one. And what it will do, it will help us to cross over the ocean of material existence. And how do you take this medicine? Normally all the medicines that we take is mostly orally, right, from your mouth. But this medicine is special. You take it through your ears. Srotra, from your ears. You pour the medicine into your ears, it goes into your heart, it purifies it, and it cures you of this material disease. So that's what Parikshit Maharaj is saying, that these pastimes of Krishna are like that. They cure you of this material disease. Next verse, Mataji. Next, Parikshit Maharaj is also expressing his gratitude to his grandfather Arjuna and the lineage that he came in. So, first of all, Abhimanyu and Arjuna, because of their mercy, Parikshit Maharaj was able to take birth. And second thing is, he was in the womb of Uttara when Brahmastra was actually coming at him. But his mother Uttara went and asked protection from Krishna. So because Krishna saved him, he is actually here today listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, there was no chance for him. So he was first expressing the gratitude within his heart. And it is said that in your life, if you do not express your gratitude towards the people who gave you Krishna consciousness, people who guide you in Krishna consciousness, people who have given you service in Krishna consciousness, then your life is very dry. But if you have that gratitude in your heart and you express your gratitude for all these people, then your life is rich with rasa. So that's why Shukadev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj is expressing his gratitude to all the people who have given him this opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. Next verse, Mataji. So this is, so then he asks a series of questions to Parikshit Maharaj, to Shukadev Goswami, and he says that, please tell me, why did Krishna appear along with Lord Balaram? How was that Balaram was there in the womb of Devaki and he was in the womb of Rohini, both? How is it possible? Please explain to me. And then next question he asked in text number 9, that why did Krishna leave the house of his father, father Vasudeva, and he go to Vrindavan? And what did he do there in Vrindavan? Who was his relatives? And some questions in next couple of verses he asked. It's not that he doesn't know. Parikshit Maharaj knows a lot of questions, but for the benefit of us, he's asking all these questions so that we can understand. And it is not that when Parikshit Maharaj is asking, why was he born? Why was Balaram born as a son of Vasudeva, as well as in the womb of Rohini as well? Then Shukadeva Goswami does not give one-line answer, like, okay, question, answer, question, answer. But for each question, he elaborates into a nice story, And when he elaborates, he brings finer and finer points of philosophy into his presentation. So in that way, if questions are not asked on behalf of us by Parikshit Maharaj, we wouldn't have known so many details about Krishna's appearance. Next verses, Mataji. And these are some more questions, why did he kill Kamsa? Though he is a brother of Devaki, why did he kill? That's a question. Next. Yeah, and Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. He doesn't have a material body like us. Then why did he take birth as a descendant of Vrishni? Please explain that as well. So he goes on asking that question. Next one. This is a very nice translation. O great sage, who know everything about Krishna, please describe in detail all the activities of which I have inquired and all those which I have not, for I have full faith and am eager to hear of them. So, Parikshit Maharaj is expressing his humility here. He's saying that, I know a little bit, because unless you know a subject a little bit, you can't even ask a question. Otherwise, it will be just blank, it goes over the head, everything. But he probably knows a little, of course, he does know a little bit. And then he's saying, please answer the questions that I have put in front of you, and please also tell me the questions that I did not put. So only Guru can do these things to us, Only Guru can explain to the disciple what he asked and what he needs as well, So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is very intelligent, He's saying, please tell me what I asked and tell me what I did not ask also. So that's because he wants to hear more and more about Krishna's pastimes. Now, Parikshit Maharaj is fasting for so many days, and then Shukadeva Goswami might be thinking, you're already thirsty, you're already hungry, I don't want to explain I don't want to give a long class. Sometimes happens, right? If the lecture goes so long and everybody get hungry, and then sometimes the speaker thinks that maybe I should cut short the class a little bit so that everybody can go for prasadam. So Parikshit Maharaj is saying to Shukadeva Goswami, please don't worry about that. He's saying, because of my vow on verge of death, I have given up drinking water. Yet, because I am drinking the nectar of the topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. We all fast on Janmashtami. I'm thinking most of us do. It's not necessary that you have to, but most of us we do. And it's very hard to tolerate that hunger at that time. And while you're hungry, if you come and sit in Vaisheshika Prabhu's class on Janmashtami, we can see some effect of it. You don't feel so much hunger. I know that devotees dance in Kirtan at midnight, even though they're fasting all day. So that's just a glimpse of how Parikshit Maharaj, sitting without getting up for 7 days and 7 nights, is feeling because the nectar of Krishna Katha is coming from the lotus mouth of Shukadeva Goswami. No hunger, no thirst. It's not artificial that he's trying to control, I'm hungry inside, but externally I'm saying that, I want to listen. It's actually, truly, he's relishing the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam. if we have that intensity of practicing devotional service in our life, then the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam actually appear live to us. But until we come to the point of reading Srimad Bhagavatam with that intensity, sometimes it may feel like after 1 hour, oh, I'm bored, I don't want to read anymore. But if we develop and pray for that intensity that Parikshit Maharaj has, then when you read Bhagavatam, when you speak about Bhagavatam, things actually come alive. And he's now Suta Goswami is saying that, because this is a conversation happened between Shukdev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit in one scene, and then between the sages of Naimisharanya and Suta Goswami, who was narrating that again, right? So Suta Goswami said that when Maharaj Parikshit asked his question, then Shukdev Goswami thanked him and then started to answer. He started to talk about Krishna, which is the remedy for the sage of Kali Yuga. Next verse. We can go to the next verse, Mataji. So this is a very nice verse. We can read the Sanskrit also, if it is okay, Mataji. Vasudeva katha prashna purusham strin punatihi vaktaram prachakam strotrams tatpada sharilam yatha. Okay, here it says that Ganges emanating from the Lord's Vishnu purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva Krishna, three varieties of men are purified. Who are those three? The speaker, the inquirer, and everybody else who is listening. So that's the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam, like we don't have to be the person who is asking the questions, and we don't have to be the person answering the questions. But even if you're just sitting in the audience, then we benefit the same way as what the speaker is benefiting, as the inquirer is benefiting. So that's why it says that similarly, when asked questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or the preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listens. So, how fortunate we are that, we are getting to hear the same thing which Shukadeva Goswami spoke, which Maharaj Parikshit heard, and Srila Prabhupada gave us, and we are discussing in this audience. We are so fortunate. The next one is, now, so this chapter is divided into three sections. The first section is the inquiry of of Parikshit Maharaj, which we just discussed. He's telling how the context on when and how it was spoken. And the second one is setting the scene. Setting the scene, like we discussed earlier, right? For a play to happen, we need to set the scene. And now the setting of the scene is happening, and here you can see that how once when Mother Earth was overburdened by hundreds of thousands of military flying sons of various conceited demons dressed like kings, she approached Lord Brahma for relief. Okay, so that's a scene. That's where, if you see some plays, it starts, once upon a time, or long, long ago. So this is that long, long ago, Earth was overburdened, and then she went to Brahma for relief. She went to Brahma because Brahma is the head of this creation, of this world, material world. Any problems you have, you go to the president or your leader, local leader. So similarly, Mother Earth, when she had a problem, she went to Brahma. And in the next verse, what Brahma does, and Mother Earth, she assumed the form of a cow, very much distressed. With tears in her eyes, she appeared before Lord Brahma and told him about her misfortune. She's explaining how that is. And there, after hearing the distress of Mother Earth, Lord Brahma with Mother Earth, Lord Shiva and all other demigods approached the shore of the ocean of milk. So this is very significant here. Because when Mother Earth was approached with this problem in the form of a cow, Brahma could have said, that, okay, let me go and talk to Vishnu, I'll come back to you. He didn't say that. He took cow, he took Lord Shiva and other demigods. Why? Because he knows that Lord Shiva means all auspiciousness, all other demigods means all auspiciousness. He didn't think that he by himself is very qualified to approach Vishnu directly. He wanted everybody's auspiciousness to come together so they can go and approach Lord Vishnu. So he's very humble, Brahma, if you can see from here. And then when he went to Lord Vishnu, he didn't go and, Lord Vishnu is lying on Shwetadeep, nicely on his bed of Lord Anantashesh. He didn't say, wake up Vishnu, wake up. What he did there at the shore, after reaching the shore of the ocean of milk, the demigods worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the Master of the whole universe, the Supreme God of all gods, who provides for everyone and diminishes everyone's suffering. With great attention, they worship Lord Vishnu, who lies in the ocean of milk, by reciting the Vedic mantras known as the Purusha Shukta. Anybody knows to chant Purusha Shukta? Sahasra Shishaha Purusha Sahasra. Okay, something like that. So, when they went and they did not approach Vishnu directly. He was still lying on the ocean of the milk, but they stood at the shore of the ocean of the milk and they prayed. And they prayed very, very hard. And when they prayed to Lord Vishnu, it's not that Lord Vishnu appears always. He doesn't come and stand in front of you, like this, saying, what do you want? No. How he does, sometimes he actually communicates through the heart of Lord Brahma. So, Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye Muhyantiya Surya, that first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, he said that he gives instructions, Krishna gives instructions through the heart of Lord Brahma. And then when Brahma, he received these instructions, then he relayed it to the demigods. Demigods did not directly hear it. Lord Shiva did not hear it. But it went in through the Guru Parampara. From Lord Brahma, the instruction was just passed down to the demigods. So the next verse, So while in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods. What did he say? O demigods, hear from me the order of Kshirodakshai Vishnu, the Supreme Person, and execute it attentively without delay. Did Brahma say, when I told Krishna, the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, he understood the problem? Did he say that? What did he say? Sorry, Prabhu?
He's just becoming the via medium, transparent medium of the instructions.
Right. He was a via medium, very nice. But was Lord Vishnu hearing this problem from Brahma for the first time? No, Vishnu already knew. So in the next verse, if you see, what Brahma says is that Vishnu already knew. He said, Lord Brahma informed the demigods, before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress of the earth. So consequently, for as long as the Lord is there on this earth to diminish our burden, he said that all you demigods should appear through the plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of Yadus. So remember in the 9th canto, Shukadeva Goswami explained all the people who appeared in the dynasty of Yadu. They were not ordinary people. They were all demigods. So why is it that the demigods get a chance to be in the pastimes of Krishna? Do you have that question? No? Because demigods are considered to be like materialistic. When you are still materialistic, they don't have completely purified themselves. But how is that they get the chance to enter into the pastimes of Krishna when he's performing on this earth, right? Prabhupada explains in the purport very nicely. He says that Shrutiman Srimatam Gehe, that verse from Bhagavad Gita, what he says, those who do the practice for some time, but they could not complete the practice, they actually go to the upper planetary systems and they Kshine Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. They get all their pious activities, credits vanished, and then they come back to the earth, right? So before Krishna appeared on this earth, all the people who were collected in the heavenly upper planetary systems were all those devotees who could not finish their devotional service. So what happened? When they came down from the heavenly planets, they got a chance to perfect their life by being in the pastimes of Krishna. So when Krishna comes, obviously, there are always Krishna's eternal associates, which are Nitya Siddhas, who always come to this earth to assist in Krishna's pastimes. But for those who perfect their life, they do not directly go to Goloka Vrindavan. Why? Yes. Sham Jagannath Prabhu says they need to get some training, right? Because if you want to perform an Arti to Radha Madan Mohan, you cannot directly go on the altar and start winging anything you like. You need to know what needs to be there in the paraphernalia, what you need to, how many circles for the Arti, how many circles for incense, diya, and everything. So that training on how to personally serve Krishna has to be given by the associates of Krishna directly. So these demigods who could not finish their business in their previous life, now they actually appeared as the sons of the Yadu kings, and also even the wives of the demigods took birth as women in the Yadu family. So they all took birth and they got trained under the Nitya Siddha devotees of Krishna, and then they actually went back to Godhead. So it's very important, these demigods taking birth into this family of Yadu. You know, remember we talked about the play or a drama. Queen Kunti says, you know, Maya Javanika Channam Agya Adhokshajam Avyayam Nalakshase Mudadrisha Nato Natya Dharo Yatha. So, which means Krishna, when he comes to this world, he is just performing just like an actor, you know. Actor dressed nicely and everything, and all the other people are also supporting actors for him, right? And for them to perform a drama, they cannot know that, you know, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If they know that, then it says even the demons who were assisting Kamsa, they were also one of the demigods who actually came down to this earth. So if they know that Krishna is the Supreme, they won't be able to fight with Krishna or curse Krishna and all those things. You know, it's very difficult. So they have to be completely in the play that Krishna is going to perform as in his appearance when he comes down. Next verse, Mataji. So then he said that, Lord Brahma said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who has full potency, will personally appear as a son of Vasudeva. Therefore, all the wives of the demigod should also appear in order to satisfy him. Here he didn't say Krishna will incarnate. Did you see? Here he said, Lord Brahma said, Krishna will personally appear. So, when Krishna appears as his own personal form, all the different incarnations, like Shivdakshaya, Garbhodakshaya, all the incarnations merge into the body of Krishna, and Krishna descends. Here Krishna is not incarnating. He is personally descending from the spiritual world to this material world. So, when you know, Krishna, when he does his pastimes, what are the things most important for Krishna? Like, you can say, when Krishna appears personally, the most important things for Krishna. Yes? You can use mic, Prabhu.
Sorry. Cow.
Cows, yes. Cows means, what does he do with the cows?
He sings to them, he plays with them, worships them.
Very nice. So he plays with the cows. That's the most important thing for Krishna. What else is important for Krishna?
Tulsi.
Tulsi, yes. Yes?
Krishna feeds the cows and herds them.
Okay, Krishna feeds the cows and herds them. Yes, yes. Apart from cows, anything else that what Krishna does? The most important things for Krishna.
He kills the demons to protect his devotees.
Kills the demons, protects his devotees, but he doesn't have to personally do that. His expansions will take care of him. But I'm just talking about, that's a very good answer though, because paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanadaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He comes to protect his devotees and to annihilate the demons. That's very important business. But that is not done by Krishna personally. His expansions can take care of it. So I'm talking about little bit more about what Krishna personally likes to do.
He likes to please his devotees and he comes and interacts with them.
Yes, he interacts with his friends, with his mother. Yes, yes, that's very good. Prabhu, you had something? Same point. Okay. Demigods' wives are mothers. Yes. So he wants to eat whatever they have cooked for him, packed for him.
He wants to perform leelas, basically.
Yes, he wants to perform leelas with gopis, right? With gopis, gopas. And one more thing, the most important thing, Krishna is famous for flute. He just plays his flute, See, if you see all the important things that he's doing, playing flute, herding cows, playing with his friends, having prasadam that Mother Yashoda cooks. And we are talking about, this is the supreme personality of Godhead, and who from whom millions and millions of universes are emanating, and like thousands and millions. But what is he doing? He's just playing. That's his most important job. And then that's why when Krishna descends to this world, he's doing all play, no work. And all the work is done by his expansions, Kshirodakshaya, Garbhodakshaya, and all those Vishnus. So he personally appears. That's the important point here. Next verse. It talks about how Shankarshan Balaram also appears to assist his pastimes in the next verse. Maybe we can move to the next one. This is a very nice verse. The potency of Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. So now, who is this Yogamaya in our play that we discussed? Guess? Yeah. She's the director because what she's doing, so if you see, in this purport actually Prabhupada mentions two things. She is Vishnu Maya. She appears in two capacities. One is she is Yoga Maya, who is assisting Krishna in his pastimes, and she is Mahamaya, who is helping the living entities forget Krishna. So, Prabhupada gives the example of an electric current, right? Electric current, it's the same electricity, but it can give both AC, cooler effect, as well as a heater. So, for people who want to forget Krishna, she's putting them in severe heat. She's trying to roast them in this material world. But those who actually want to serve Krishna, she makes all the arrangements for them to serve Krishna properly. So now, this Vishnu Maya is the one who is making sure that everyone does their act properly. So she makes sure that demigods who take birth in this Yadu dynasty, they forget who is Krishna. Some of them don't even know that Krishna is the supreme. They become demons. They become assistants of Kamsa, all under her direction. Another important point here is that it's not that she's acting whimsically. If you see, it says that she will appear with Lord Krishna, and she says, at the request of her master. So, it's not that she's a director on her own. There is a producer on the top, Krishna. who is telling that, I want you to direct this play this way, and then she's following exactly what her master says, not whimsically. So she's arranging everything so perfectly, She creates the scenes and she makes sure everybody has their place, everything, their dialogues, everything is perfectly orchestrated here. Next. So after advising this to the demigods, Lord Brahma, he went back to his office, wherever he sits. And then all the demigods also went back to their places. Now they are getting ready, preparing to take birth in the family of the Yadu dynasty. Okay, so this actually finishes the setting of the scene, like everybody knows that you have whatever parts you have to do, whatever roles you have to play. And the next comes the actual scene, which gives us where Krishna appears. So probably we can pause here and take some questions or reflections. Mainly reflections, because it's just or whatever you want. Yes, Prabhu. Shyam Jagannath Prabhu.
Since you mentioned at the beginning of the class that the teacher also tests students, so we need to give a few reflections. That was actually very good starting. Thank you very much for the morning japa, and this class is also very, very beautiful, very sweet. Please give more classes if possible. I know.
By your blessings, Prabhu.
One thing that you mentioned, Bhava Aushada, Srimad Bhagavatam as Bhava Aushada. So me and Shriyan, we were discussing, and you mentioned that usually in this material world, medicine are not sweet, whereas Srimad Bhagavatam is sweet. Shriyan immediately said, but children medicine are sweet. So, and then me and he were discussing. I was telling him, Tylenol, for example, the medicinal part of it is actually not sweet. So they just add extra things to make it sweet. But Srimad Bhagavatam is not like that. Srimad Bhagavatam is sweet.
Pure.
Pure, very pure, in Krishna's pastime.
Yeah, Shriyan has a comment.
They don't add in, Shukadeva Goswami didn't add any sweetness. Whatever medicine he spoke or whatever medicine he gave to us was already really sweet.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point, Shriyan. Thank you so much for adding that. The messages of Bhagavatam are sweet. Rasayana Katha, it's a sweetest medicine, and then it just enters into our ears, and then it's pure. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, because I was also thinking the same thing, that kids' medicines are sweet. Thank you for that answer. Now I got. Another thing I was thinking is when you mentioned that in Srimad Bhagavatam, you can have all at once. So it's not like medicines where you can, because I was also having my quota of medicines recently. So that's good to know that Srimad Bhagavatam you can just have all at once and unlimited. There is no like only 5 days you can have. So any number of days you can have. And so thank you, Mataji, for that. I had one question. Mataji, when you mentioned that devotees, when they perfect their lives, they come to Vrindavan and they are getting trained, and then they go back home, back to Godhead. I was just reflecting if you can just add some more light on it. That Mataji, at the same time, it is little risky to come. It's a little risky to come on earth because we might get entangled. So how should we take that kind of thing? So thank you, Mataji.
Very nice question, Prabhu. Thank you for asking that question. So one thing is that when you've perfected your life, which means that this material world doesn't appeal to you. That's the first point. And then when you have perfected your life, which means you have taken complete shelter of Krishna. When you have taken complete shelter of Krishna, you should have full faith in his protection as well. So, and if you are present in the same planet where Krishna is performing pastimes, and you're serving Krishna, then, and this is favorably, by the way, This is not unfavorably, it's not by chance or anything like that. You're serving Krishna favorably under the guidance of a Nitya Siddha devotee who is always watching out for you. So there is very, very little chance that you will be swayed away from the association of Krishna. And this also brings up a very important point that unless you have proper training, you won't be able to serve to your fullest extent. You know, when Prabhupada was present on this earth, there were his cooks who were trained perfectly. Shuddhakirti Prabhu, Shuddhakirti Prabhu used to serve Prabhupada. He said that he had a system to make Prabhupada's lunch in just 35 minutes. He had a 3-tier cooker where in one slot would be sabji, like steamed sabji. One slot was dal, on the top was rice. All the 3 at the same time. And while that cooker is cooking, he would actually make the chapati atta ready. Okay, chapati atta ready. And as soon as the cooker is done, there was one chance that he used to make. And then put the chance in dal, in sabji, and Prabhupada's meal was ready. And the offering would go, and the offer would come back. And Prabhupada used to have rotis which is hot, garam roti. Like, you know, it has to be directly from the pan directly to Prabhupada's plate. That's how Prabhupada liked it. So he would actually make one roti. Then once it puffs up, he would just go slide into Prabhupada's plate. He would run back and make the second roti and ready like that. So if you see how to serve a spiritual master and how he learned to serve the spiritual master in a perfect way has to be done by personal training. Prabhupada first trained him, you know, how to this. But first day, some new devotee comes and says, you know, I will make lunch for Prabhupada. I'm sure Prabhupada is very merciful, he will accept whatever he does. But it is not according to what pleases Prabhupada. Right? So all of us who are in this material world, we are learning, we are trying to practice our devotional service, and we have some idea on what Krishna likes. But if you are trained under a person who is already serving, if Shuddhakirti Prabhu comes, His Grace Shuddhakirti Prabhu comes and trains us, you know, you make like this, he shows you, then yes, you can follow. So that's why all the living entities who, even though they have perfected their life in devotional service, they get trained in a planet where Krishna is performing pastimes. Every day Krishna is performing planet. Right now, Krishna is performing his pastimes personally in some planet or the other. So they go to that planet, get trained, and once they know exactly how to serve Krishna, then they go back to Goloka Vrindavan. So, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji, for not a one-line answer. Yeah, as you mentioned.
Not a one-line answer. Sorry for the long answer, Prabhu.
No, it was actually good. Thank you so much. And when you were mentioning that how devotee get a chance to serve personally, so he didn't think all that. I was actually thinking about the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. They were in a very good position in US. US is considered as very favorable if you want to have facilities. But when Srila Prabhupada said you have to go to India, and India is not such a place comparatively in terms of facilities, but they were all happy because they felt that they will get a chance to serve Srila Prabhupada. So when you mentioned favorably, I was just thinking on that one. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
And yes, as Shyam Jagannath Prabhu said, we will like to hear more from him.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class. On that note, thank you for making Bhagavatam more sweeter. As the Bhagavatam says, when it comes through the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, it becomes even more sweeter. Sweet. So on that sweet point, thank you. I was thinking that, thank you for bringing out how the Lord appears. Sometimes, many times when we hear Krishna's birth, it may seem that he's a regular person who's appearing. But then, when we know the background, it comes to us that, okay, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and still, he does that. And when we think more about it, it just, Lord actually comes just for us. He chooses us pastimes, and attracts our mind and hearts. So thank you for bringing that out, and please give more classes.
Well, I don't know, my Krishna's mercy. Sorry, Prabhu. Okay. Prabhu Keshav Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji, for making it very sweet, sweeter than what Shukadeva Goswami had to offer. I was reflecting on the point when you mentioned that Lord Brahma, he approached the Lord and he heard that vibration. So the 2 points that came to my mind was, Krishna has a plan for every living entity to come back. And when we take that anxiety, as you do when you go out on book distribution, and every other devotee is doing in their own possible way, and when they actually see the Lord being merciful on the devotee, one should understand that one has become a part of the Lord's plan and has perfected their life. So the reason that the demigods got the opportunity to be a part of this Leela is because they took that anxiety for other devotees.
Wow.
And because they took the anxiety for other devotees, Krishna is very pleased with them. So whether they perfected their lives or not, just by taking the anxiety for others and approaching the Lord in a humble manner, the Lord was very merciful. And through his kripa, Shakti, these demigods, even if they had pious credits, didn't have pious credit, got an opportunity to be in his part of Leela.
What a wonderful point, Prabhu. Thank you so much for bringing that out. It's also said in the 8th canto, during the churning of the milk ocean, Tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasojana paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya khilatmanaha. So the point that you mentioned, that what is the highest form of worshipping the Purusha, Krishna? And here he mentions tapyante lokatapena. So one who suffers for the suffering of other people, he is considered to be the most highest form. He's performing the most highest form of worship to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's the example came in when Lord Shiva, because of the ocean of poison came in, and there was nobody else to consume that. Then what he did, because he wants to take the suffering of other people, he took the suffering upon himself. And that is considered to be the highest one. So as you mentioned, the demigods wanted to take that anxiety or that tapa for other people. So when they mentioned, and that was a nice form of worship to the Supreme Lord. Thank you, Prabhu, for bringing that. Okay, I think we should move on to the next section, because we will take some more. You had a reflection? No, okay. We'll go to the next part. This part is even nice, because now the demigod said, "Okay, I will go." Now comes the scene where Vasudeva and Devaki are in play. So some more background from the 9th canto is that Ugrasena and Devaka, they are brothers. They're two brothers of the same father. And Ugrasena's son was Kamsa, right? And Devaka, he had many children, and Devaki was a daughter of Devaka. So in that way, Kamsa and Devaki, they were cousins, but in the Bhagavatam text, it is mentioned as brothers and sisters. So it was almost the same as the real brothers and sisters, but Devaki was from Devaka and Kamsa was from Ugrasen. So now, we can go to the next verse, Mataji. Okay. Now, Surasen, the chief of the Yadu dynasty, had gone to live in the city of Mathura. There he enjoyed the places as Mathura and Surasen. So now the camera is shifting to the earth, to Mathura area, where Krishna will be born. And next verse, please. So Mathura is actually considered to be was the capital of the Yadu dynasty. So it was actually a very popular place at that time. And the city and the district of Mathura are very intimately connected with Krishna because Lord Krishna resides there eternally. It's not that he just came there and he disappeared. He always resides there eternally. And sometimes when they say Mathura, it is a Mathura Mandal. So Vrindavan is also included in that. So they use it interchangeably, Mathura or Vrindavan. So next verse, Mataji. Okay, now, some time ago, Vasudeva, who belonged to the demigod family or the Sura dynasty, married Devaki. After the marriage, he mounted his chariot to return home with his newly married wife. One thing to note here, that Vasudeva did not have association of Devaki before the marriage. They did not get to talk each other to find out if this is compatible or not. This was arranged, the modern terms, they did not date to get married. So he just met Devaki, he just met Devaki, they got married, and then they were just getting onto a chariot to go to Devaki's home, Vasudeva's home. Then Kamsa, the son of Ugrasen, in order to please his sister Devaki on the occasion of her marriage, took charge of the reins of the horses and became the chariot driver. He was surrounded by hundreds of golden chariots. So, very important post to be the chariot driver of Vasudeva and Devaki. Like Krishna was a chariot driver of Arjuna, now Kamsa is a chariot driver of Vasudeva and Devaki. It's actually a pride for the brother to do something menial like this for her sister, especially during her marriage. So this was considered to be the very, very nice thing. And Kamsa, being a very, very nice brother, he was trying to do this for Devaki. And then Devaki's father, King Devaka, was very much affectionate to his daughter. Therefore, while she and her husband were leaving home, he gave her a dowry of 4,000 elephants, nicely decorated with golden garlands. It's not gold plated, what do you call it? Gold painted or something, real gold garlands, real gold garlands. He also gave 10,000 horses. I don't even know how long it would take space-wise. And then 1,800 chariots and 200 very beautiful young maidservants, fully decorated with ornaments. Actually, Prabhupada makes a very nice point here in this purport. He says that previously, the sons used to get inherit the property of the father. This is those olden days. I'm not talking about modern days today, where everybody gets equal share and whatnot, I don't know. But those days they did not have, daughters did not get the share of the inheritance. So what the father did was, as a dowry, if the father has, of course, it's not that if he doesn't have, he has to take a debt and give, it's not like that. If the father has the money, father used to give a part of his property as a dowry to the daughter. So with great happiness. So that's how this dowry system was there, because the daughter never got a share of the property, so they gave it as a dowry, and then the daughter is also satisfied in that way. So that's how he gave so much of charity, depending on the capacity of the father, of course. It's not that he has to go out of the way and do some debts. So now, Shukadeva Goswami is saying, O beloved son Maharaj Parikshit, when the bride and the groom were ready to start, so the conch shells, bugles, drums, kettle drums, all vibrated in concert for their auspicious departure. Can anybody imitate that? I mean, try. Drums we can do, some kettle drums, some conch shells, some... Thank you, Prabhu. So, like 1,000,000 times greater than what Prabhu has just done. But just imagine how the scene was that they were ready to depart. Then comes, while Kamsa was controlling the reins of the horses and was driving the chariot along the way, an embodied voice addressed him. "You foolish rascal! The 8th child of the woman you are carrying will kill you." Now it's sudden. It's a something unembodied voice came from the sky. So you can imagine, Kamsa was being very nice to Devaki, right? The chariot driving and everything like that. So demigods thought that what if Kamsa develops an affection for Devaki? Then how will it happen that Krishna will appear and all those things? How will the 8 sons have to be killed? All those things, how will it happen? So what they did, they know Kamsa's nature. How Kamsa is? Kamsa is actually fickle-minded. You can never trust him. Because one time he can be very nice, but because of his demoniac nature, he immediately would flip 180 degrees, just in a moment. So just now he was nicely, remember the scene? He was nicely holding the reins like this, trying to take Vasudeva and Devaki, and then now he suddenly heard the voice coming from the sky. And when he heard the voice in the sky, okay, let's go to the next verse and then we can discuss that. Kamsa, now you see Kamsa's other side, the 180 degrees you will see. Kamsa was a condemned personality in the Bhoja dynasty because he was envious and sinful. Therefore, upon hearing this omen in the sky, he caught hold of his sister's hair with his left hand. Remember, the reins were in his right hand, and then he just took his left hand, caught hold of Devaki's hair, his sister's hair, and took up his sword with his right hand to sever the head of her body. In just one sentence by that omen, he just flipped 180 degrees altogether. And then, just imagine, he already took hold of Devaki's hair, he has a sword in his hand. How much time does it take to chop off her head? Few seconds, few minutes, I don't know what it was, right? So just remember this time duration, and then we'll come back to that. Wanting to pacify Kamsa, who is cruel and envious, that was shamelessly ready to kill his sister, the great soul Vasudeva, who was to be the father of Krishna, spoke to him the following words. Now, this section is very, very important because Vasudeva, first of all, some background about Vasudeva. Vasudeva had 18 wives, not one. Because he married all the sons of Devaka. So Devaki is one of them, and other sisters of Devaki also Vasudeva married. And then he has other wives also. So she was not the only wife. Okay. So second thing is, even though he can have many other wives, he did not think that let her go, And second thing is, Kamsa, we should understand the power of Kamsa. Jarasandha had an elephant named Kuvalayapida. You must have heard. Okay, Shriyan? You have to use a mic. I also can't hear. Sorry.
I'm reading Navraj Mama here, and that's exactly the point I came across.
You did? Wow. Thank you so much for bringing that out. That I should also read Navamraja Mahima then. So, Kuvalayapida was Jarasandha's elephant. It is very, very, very hard to control it. It's very powerful. And then what Kamsa did was, sometimes Kuvalayapida was just coming and causing some interruption for Kamsa. Kamsa just took that elephant, he just threw and killed. Not just threw, he threw some 800 miles or something, I don't know the exact number. He threw that far and it went into Jarasandha's camp. So Jarasandha found out, who is this that killed Kuvalayapida? This must be a strong person. And then he went and found it's Kamsa. And then said, oh, okay, he's my category then, he's the demon, the affinity, like poles attract, like that. So that was the strength of Kamsa. So can you imagine that Vasudeva could control that for Kamsa? No, right? So now Vasudeva did not have a long association with Devaki. As I mentioned earlier, they didn't date or anything, And remember the time that he had to chop off Devaki's head? Very little time. So now Vasudeva had to think how to respond to the situation in just that small amount of time. Sometimes, in the heat of the moment, if something is happening like very fast, somebody is offending you or doing something, trying to kill you or something like that, what you do, first response is, hey, stop that, like, who are you? Like, you start exercising your own power to show that you are also the great. But then Vasudeva has to walk a very thin line, because if he did one way or the other, Kamsa would have just chopped off, So now it shows, the next few verses shows the presence of mind, the qualities of Vasudeva, how intelligent he was in dealing with this situation. So Vasudeva employed 3 kinds of strategies. One is the sama, which means nice talk, like he tried to be nice to him. Then next is bheda, which is logic. He wants to put all the logical arguments to make sure that Kamsa understands. And he couldn't use danda. Danda is a punishment. And Vasudeva knew that Kamsa was so powerful, he couldn't use a danda. So, so how he intelligently proposed all the different strategies here, that we can see in the next verses. So what he said, Vasudeva said, the first thing he said, he knows Kamsa's nature, by the way. It's not that Vasudeva did not know who Kamsa was. He said, my dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the pride of your family, the Bhoja dynasty, and great heroes praise your qualities. How could such a qualified person as you kill a woman, your own sister, especially on the occasion of her marriage? See, he's trying to use the sama, which means being nice words and talks, to somehow or other try to pacify Kamsa. He didn't say, you fool, you don't even know that this is a woman. How can you even lift a sword against a woman, You have not learned it in your Gurukul or something like that. He didn't say all those things, He was very, very intelligent. He tried to pacify him in this way. And the next one, he says, he's still saying, oh, great hero. So now, the sama, the first strategy he used, it didn't work. Because Kamsa, he didn't care, Reputation, who cares? I only care about my birth. I don't care about my next birth. As long as I'm in this world, I want to live happily. I don't know what's my next life. I don't even know if afterlife exists, People think like that, right? They just want to enjoy the life in the current perspective. They don't want to know what's the future. And then Vasudeva thought, okay, this strategy is not working. So let me try to put some logic. He says, okay, even if you don't care about your reputation, now, he says, oh, great hero, one who takes birth is sure to die. For death is born with the body, right? That's a logic that he's trying to apply. One may die today or after 100 years, but death is sure for every living entity. Agree? Right? Okay. Next verse. When the present body turns to dust again, reduced to 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, the proprietor of the body, the living being, automatically receives another body of the material elements according to his fruitive activities. When the next body is obtained, he gives up the present body. So he's trying to remind him that whatever act that you're trying to do here, for Devaki, based on that, you'll get your next life. So he's trying to talk very intelligently. Next verse. And now, this is a very important verse, not just to explain to Kamsa, but even for us. Just as a person traveling on the road rests one foot on the ground and then lifts the other one, or a worm on a vegetable transfers itself to one leaf and then gives up the previous one, the conditioned soul takes shelter of another body and then gives up the one he had before. Can somebody demonstrate, Prabhu, if I may please ask you, can you try to put your next foot, you can take a step without putting the other one on the ground? Try, Prabhu. No, you stay. So, but if you can follow what Bhagavatam says, just as a person traveling on the road rests one foot on the ground and then lifts the other one. Yeah, that's stable, right? That's how the soul, he actually moves from one body to another. The moment it gets the next body, it leaves the other one. If you see the worm, the other example is, if you have seen a worm, I don't know, my garden has a lot of worms. They eat all my plants, leaves and everything. They very nicely like go like this, and when they reach the edge of the leaf, they have one leg here, and they just jump onto the other one. Once they get hold of the other one, then they move like this. So this is how the soul also leaves the current body, and it actually moves to the next one. So he's explaining all of this to Kamsa. And then he goes on to say something more about how the present body is like a dream and everything. I think we can move to the next verse. The idea is that he's trying to explain how, in this verse it says that how whatever your mind is thinking, feeling and willing is according to that propensity, you will get your next birth. So if you're thinking about killing somebody, then probably you'll be killed the next life, right? So he's trying to explain all these aspects so that Kamsa could stop killing Devaki. Next verse, Mataji. I'm going a little faster because we are, I think, next verse also, because this is a lot of philosophy and then I think we have less time. And then he says, therefore, since envious, impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? This is a logic, right? Like he's explaining it. Why are you acting impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone, for an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or the next life. Actually, even though Vasudeva was speaking very sweetly, he was actually piercing with the arrows like that, which Kamsa probably did not realize, But he's trying to give those drops of philosophy to him. It's like sharp arrows shooting at him. And then he's saying, as your younger sister is, this poor girl Devaki is like your own daughter. Now he's appealing to his human side of it. So logic is done. Now he's saying like human side. Okay. Forget all those things. You don't believe in afterbirth. You don't believe in all those things. Just consider Devaki is like your own daughter because sister is protected. So consider like a daughter. Deserves to be affectionately maintained. Not like, chopped off like that. You are merciful and therefore you should not kill her. Indeed, she deserves your affection. So he's trying to appeal the affectionate side of it. But Kamsa, how he is. He didn't take any heed to Vasudeva's instructions. Because he was a Rakshasa, of course. He didn't care about any results of sinful activities, either this life, next life, nothing, He's like, I don't care what you're saying. And then, now Vasudeva is in a very precarious condition. When he saw that Kamsa was determined to kill her sister, he started thinking deeply now, what is my next strategy? Of course, I did Sama, I did Bheda. I can't do Danda because he's too powerful for me and it will just backfire. So then he thought of another plan. And now we should understand this other plan that he's thinking, it's just not coming on his own, but it's actually coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Krishna has some other plan also. So now he's saying, the reason why he's thinking of another plan is because as long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person must try to avoid death. This is the duty of every embodied person. But if death cannot be avoided in spite of one's endeavors, a person facing death commits no offense. Okay. This is a very important point that we have to contemplate. Sometimes this material world is so cruel. It doesn't consider whether you're practicing devotional service or not, or according to your karma, according to your fast track karma, or whatever it may be. sometimes you're presented with some situations or some disease where you cannot avoid death. So when you come to that situation, what are you supposed to do? Can some answers? Any answers?
So the question is, if death is unavoidable in the very short term.
No, when you just come to know that maybe you have to die, what do?
Prepare well.
Oh, prepare well, which means you surrender and say, okay, I can't do anything, let me just die?
I mean, if, let's say we came to know of a disease which is curable, or at least there is something that is in our hands that we can do, we do our best, because this is a body that Krishna has gifted us. So we can actually do devotional service and advance in this lifetime. So thinking this body is temporary, so what is the use of it is Falgu Vairagya. So Yukta Vairagya is actually to be able to see this is a gift of Krishna that he has given us, and I will do my best to protect it, and I will leave the rest to Krishna. And ultimately, most often we realize that actually difficulties and even death can be postponed in that sense, and our devotional service can be continued.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So what Prabhu made a point is that if you are faced with a situation where death is going to come, it's not that you give up immediately. Here what it says is that you have to try your best to find any possible means to maintain this body, because this human birth is so rare. Nridehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam maya anukulena bhasvateritam puman bhavabdim nataretsa atmaha. So it's very rare to obtain this human birth. Then can we give it up so easily? No, we should fight to the last minute, of course, in our capacity as much as possible. And then of course, even after trying for so long, if you cannot do anything about it, then of course you have to accept it as Krishna's mercy. So Vasudeva was in this mood. He didn't think, okay, I tried Sama, I tried Veda, I can't do Danda, what else can I do? Okay, Krishna, whatever you want. No, he was thinking, okay, if I cannot do all those things, he said, somehow or other, I have to save at least Devaki. Somehow or other I have to save Devaki. So what he made a plan, he said like, okay, if I tell Kamsa doesn't have a problem with Devaki, right? The omen said her eighth child, not even son, eighth child will kill him. So he thought of a plan that, okay, let me tell him that you have a problem with the children, my children. How about this? I'm trying to save my wife, but I will give you all the children that are born to me. So whatever he did was not illogical or irreligious to give away his son, because at the moment his main problem was to protect his wife. The future children, he doesn't even know anything about it. So he had to do the best he could at this moment to save Devaki. So what he did, next verse please, Mataji. He said, Vasudeva considered, by delivering all my sons to Kamsa, who is death personified, I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kamsa will die before my sons take birth. That was his thought. And it was not wrong, because who has seen the future, right? We don't know. Maybe Kamsa will die of some heart attack or something, I don't know. Since he is already destined to die in the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. So he also knows that because the omen spoke that eighth child would kill, so he knows that eighth child will kill Kamsa. So these two were facts. For the time being, let me promise to hand over my sons to that Kamsa, so that Kamsa will give up his immediate threat. And in due course of time, Kamsa dies, and I shall have nothing to fear. Okay? So this was his plan. This was his last resort. Poor guy, he doesn't have any options. For a man who just got married a few hours ago, trying to protect his wife, I think this is the best he could do at the time. And then, for some unseen reason leaps over one piece of wood and sets fire to the next, the reason is destiny. Similarly, when the living being accepts one kind of body and leaves aside another, there is no reason than unseen destiny. Sometimes we don't know when somebody else's house is on fire, because of something from that actually goes into somebody else's house and burns that house, but rest of the houses are all intact, and that happens to be your house. What can you do? It's a destiny. Is it that person's fault that it killed? No, it's a plan of the Supreme Lord. So we just have to accept and move on. So that's what Vasudeva thought. Because of this, if my sons get killed, then it's a plan of the destiny because I tried my best. And then after that's considering this matter, as far as his knowledge allows, Vasudeva submitted this proposal to the sinful Kamsa with great respect. He didn't say, all right, okay, I'll give you my sons, now leave my wife. No, he was very respectful because he knew Kamsa. He was very fickle-minded. The moment he noticed something, then he would just flip. And then Vasudeva's mind was full of anxiety because his wife was facing danger, but in order to please a cruel, shameless, and sinful Kamsa, he externally smiled and spoke to him as follows. Vasudeva said, O best of the sober, you have nothing to fear from your sister Devaki because of what you have heard from the unseen omen. The cause of death will be her sons. Therefore, I promise that when she gives birth to the sons from whom your fear has arisen, I shall deliver them all unto your hands. So remember we discussed earlier, I don't think we can finish this chapter because it's already 9:35, but maybe I can just summarize and then we can take some reflections. Earlier we discussed that when Vasudeva thought that he would give his sons to Kamsa, it was not just his own plan, that actually came from the Supreme Lord's instruction. Why? Because the sons that will be born of Devaki, the 6 sons, they were the shad-garbhas. So who were the shad-garbhas? Okay, they had 2 previous births. So the first birth was, they were the sons of Marichi. So Brahma had a son named Marichi, and Marichi had 6 children. These were the 6 children. So one day, as you may know, Brahma was running behind his own daughter. And then everybody said, Brahma, please don't do it, this, that. And then Brahma was still running behind his daughter. And then, at that time, these 6 children, they laughed at Brahma. So the lesson here is that when a great person is apparently committing some mistakes, if you do not have a qualification to correct them, do not correct them. That's a lesson. Same thing happened with Chitraketu, Maharaj Chitraketu. When Lord Shiva was sitting on the lap of Parvati, he just said something, though it was actually a correct thing what he was saying, people will misunderstand you and everything, so please don't sit like that, but it was not his place to correct. It was not his place to correct. So unless you are in a position of a spiritual master or somebody, you cannot correct other people. So the 6 sons of Marichi, because they laughed, they were cursed to become a demon. They were supposed to become demons. So in the next life, they were born as the Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, 2 brothers, right? Hiranyaksha's son was Kalanemi. And Kalanemi had 6 sons, the demons, which are the 6 sons of Marichi. They were born as the demon. And then these, a long story but short, but these 6 children of Kalanemi wanted to get some benedictions like Hiranyakashipu to become immortal. They went and prayed Brahma, and Brahma kind of gave them some kind of benedictions which is similar to what they gave. And then Hiranyakashipu got to know, oh, you went to pray to Brahma without asking me? How dare you do that? That he was very upset. And then he said, because you did that, now I curse that one day you will be killed by your own father. That's how he cursed them. So those shad-garbhas, then in some subsequent birth, Kalanemi became Kamsa. And the shad-garbhas came into the womb of Devaki. And then, because of the curse, his own father is Kalanemi as Kamsa, is supposed to kill those 6 garbhas, 6 children, so they get liberated and they can actually go and perform their devotional service. So when Krishna performs his activities, everything actually comes into a proper place. It's not that just Krishna whimsically does, child abuse by killing, and oh no, it's not like that. He actually wants to deliver the children of Marichi. That's why he actually formulated this plan that Kamsa would kill those 6 sons of Devaki. And then after this, what happened was Kamsa actually let Devaki and Vasudeva go. And as Vasudeva was a man of honor in his words, he never slipped his word. So as promised, every year he had a child. And he brought those 6 children to Kamsa, and then Kamsa killed all of them. There's another story where Narada comes in and everything. But the other part of this shad-garbhas, these 6 children actually represent the 6 anarthas in the mind. So before Krishna comes, those anarthas have to be cleared. And after that, of course, Balaram comes. Because Balaram, he's so service-oriented that he has to make sure if Krishna steps on something, that place has to be clean. If Krishna has to sit somewhere, he has to become the asan. If Krishna has to play the flute, he has to become the flute. So that is his service mode. So if Krishna is going to appear in the womb of Devaki, he has to make sure the womb is inhabitable for Krishna, right? So that's why Balaram comes first. He actually makes the womb of Devaki suitable for Krishna to enter. And then Krishna enters the womb of Devaki. So, Krishna's births and Balaram's birth, you all know, but this is the background before Krishna actually appears in the womb of Devaki, what happens and what are the sequence of events. So this is setting the scene for Krishna to appear. We can take any reflections or questions at this point. Sorry that last part was a little fast, but yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. One question, but before that, one reflection is, I really liked how Vasudeva is using very sweet words. He was calling Kamsa as the pride of the dynasty, that everybody respects you like that. So very helpful. We know it is basically Shastra-based when we glorify people for book distribution. Of course, everybody who is able to receive Bhagavatam or even any books or even willing to speak to devotees are great souls. So that's one point I noticed. The question I have is Krishna and Balaram appearing. I was having this discussion with a Jain friend of mine. So he was asking, how is Krishna's birth in the womb different to that of living entities, other living entities, conditioned souls? If you can please elaborate. I don't know how much detail Bhagavatam covers. If you can kindly elaborate, that will be nice.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice question. So, a human birth, if as you know, happens when the soul is placed in the semen of the father and thus transferred to the mother, and that's how the living entity takes birth in this material world. But if you see the birth of Krishna, first Krishna appeared in the mind of Vasudeva. From the mind of Vasudeva, he was transferred into the heart of Devaki. And from there, he entered the womb of Devaki. So it's not a normal thing. And can you imagine the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu? You know that, right? All the universes, all the planets, all the living entities, everybody, when he breathes in, goes and stays in his belly, right? Everybody just gets absorbed into the belly. And that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into the into the womb of Devaki. How is it? It's unimaginable because it's not ordinary. It's not ordinary. That Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is now entering the womb of Devaki and staying in her womb. So this is not an ordinary birth like it happens with living entities. Second thing is, living entity is forced to enter into the womb of a mother or to a family. But Krishna is independent. He doesn't have to be forced. He chooses where he wants to appear. He chose to appear in the Yadu dynasty. And not only that, Vasudeva and Devaki, they were Prishni and Sutapa previously, and he appeared as Prishnigarbha as their son. And then he was Aditi and Kashyapa, where he appeared as Vamana. And in his third birth, he appeared as Vasudeva and they appeared as Vasudeva and Devaki, where they had Krishna as their child. So just imagine how much pious credits does Vasudeva and Devaki might have performed to obtain Krishna as their son. It's not ordinary, and it is not by force, like as a living entity. So these are the few things that between a common person and Krishna are different. I hope it helps.
Thank you, Mataji. That is very helpful. Once Gauranga Prabhu was sharing that he was speaking this katha to some engineering students and some IIT students. So they were asking, why did Kamsa keep Vasudeva and Devaki in the same cell if he knew that their 8th child is going to take?
I think Prabhupada answered this question. Mataji, if you can go back to that verse, just a few, there's a purport in which Prabhupada gives the answer to this question. Why, Next verse, Mataji. Next couple maybe verse. Yes. If you can go to the purport of this verse, if possible. Each year, that one. Yeah, 56. Yeah. The spiritual master is sometimes glorified as Sarvadeva Mayo Guru. By the grace of Guru, the spiritual master, one can understand the different kinds of devas. The word deva refers to God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original source of all demigods, who are also called devas. I'm not sure if this is the... Mataji, can you go down a little bit more? I don't think it's this... Anyway, I will point out to you that purport, that Prabhupada answers that question. It says that Vasudeva was not thinking that, if I'm together with Devaki, then I have to give birth to a child, and then that child will be killed. Vasudeva was remembering the omen. He said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, will be born as your 8th child. So Vasudeva was looking forward to that 8th child, He was so anxious. That's why every year he was actually giving a child, because it is already Krishna's plan that has been orchestrated. He was just trying to help execute that plan. So that's the dependency that they have for Krishna, They want to follow Krishna's instruction, and they want to facilitate anukulena Krishna anushīlanam. So they want to favorably follow Krishna's path. And I know that question also came up with... But I will send you that purport.
Thank you, Mataji. And you also commented that how from the mind of Vasudeva it transferred. So it's not the mundane way of childbirth.
Yes.
I also heard that Krishna wasn't stuck in the womb without any space for 9 months hanging upside down like us. So it's a different birth. And as Krishna says, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. So it is transcendental. If someone can actually understand just birth and how Krishna lives, so he probably understood devotional service properly. So
Andantarasya Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He enters into each and every atom. So womb is much bigger. So it's not impossible for Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, yes. Ananda Kishore Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I was just thinking that how is the nature of Vasudeva? You know, how he was always trying to align with Krishna's plan. And not only he did that here, I mean, he could have said, okay, now that Krishna is born, now you relieve me of your suffering. And then Krishna went to Vrindavan, and then still Vasudeva and Devaki were kept in jail by Kamsa. And he didn't complain.
Yeah.
And for all that, you know, he was Krishna's father, so he could have asked Krishna anything. So my question on this is how to continue going on tolerating things and living up your life, aligning with the Krishna's plan, and don't complain. So can you you're probably the best persons in this regard. So can you please share something on that?
Thank you, Prabhu, for such a nice question. I don't know if we can answer this quickly, but a few thoughts maybe I can give. In life, there are situations always coming up which are unfavorable to you, apparently. And the mind's nature is to think that, oh, this is so difficult. Oh, this is so difficult. And then, if you just, I don't know if you remember, Vaisheshika Prabhu says that when you go on book distribution, you just turn off the switch here, which says, you know, I don't know anything, I'm just going to follow like a robot. So, I mean, this is figuratively, I'm speaking, that whenever obstacles have come, or whenever seeming obstacles have come, if you take it in the right spirit and go according to Krishna's plan, that opens up a brand new thing for your life. I'll give you an example, which you know very nicely also, that when we had the pandemic started, and you know our Sankirtan, we have to go on every week, door to door, store to store. Our only interaction is with people. So you can imagine, without people, how do we do the book distribution, right? It's the most difficult challenge that we thought we faced. And then when this challenge came, what Vaisheshika Prabhu mentioned is that he says, you know, don't take this as a challenge, take this as an opportunity. When we actually changed our mindset to not think of a challenge but as an opportunity, then our mind started working in a total different direction. And then we started calling parties. We started calling so many people on the phones, asking them, would they like to take a set of Srimad Bhagavatam? Surprisingly, so many people said yes, you know. So a new avenue opened altogether, which we never explored before. So when these obstacles actually come on our way, and if you keep Krishna's plan always in the center, then Krishna shows you a brand new thing that can enhance your devotional service. So every opportunity we can think the same way. Sometimes it's not about service, but even in our personal life, we should not take this as an obstacle, but if we can take it as an opportunity, then we will be able to progress in our spiritual life. Sometimes we think that, especially I am like that, I hate change. That's why I'm working in the same company for the last 12 years, I guess. But for people who are averse to change, you know, it is actually moving them out of the comfort zone. But in your life, you are being given a spouse exactly made for you, who can teach you that aspect which you are deficient. So if it is, let's say, if you're not tolerant, then you'll get a spouse which will force you to learn how to tolerate. If you're deficient in cooking, let's say, then you have a spouse who will force you to learn how to cook. So instead of thinking that this is a difficult situation for me, if you take it as a positive thing that, okay, Krishna, I know it is difficult. I know you put me in this situation because you want me to learn this aspect of it. Then your life becomes happier and you'll make so much of advancement in spiritual life. Example, if you do not know how to climb a steep mountain, right? You work really, really hard. Like you work really, really hard for this first steep that you have to take, and then you become so expert. The first obstacle you cross, the next steep mountain, it's like piece of cake. You just climb, climb, climb. So the first time it feels hard, but as you keep taking it as an opportunity, not an obstacle, then you actually make a lot of progress. I hope it helped. I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, it really helped. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I didn't mean anything about you. I was just giving an example, okay? Just so that this was a generic example. I'm just trying to make sure Bhavika is not offended. Okay. I think maybe we can take one last reflection and then we can do the announcements and Guru Puja. I don't know if I don't see Jai Madhav Prabhu here, but if not, any reflections, any corrections? Okay. If not, thank you so much for patiently listening. I'm so grateful. This is a wonderful audience. I was thinking, I don't know who will be there in the class, but when I saw all of you, I'm so grateful because it helped me to learn a lot also from you, whatever points you all made. So thank you so much for helping me. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Namashishtam Manamapi Sachiputammattvasrupam Shirupam Tasyagajam Munipurim Matalim Goshavapim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasam Pramto Yasya Prahitakupaya Shri Gurum Tannatosmi He Guru Gyanada Dina Bandho Swadanadata Karunaika Sindho Vrindavana Sinahitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dinabandha Karanaika Sindho Guru Prasadam Maivanamure Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tatpada Padme Stumatishta Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the son of Sati Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, and the divine Radha Kund in Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha and Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By him, we can cause the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. Ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. O spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagavati Vandori Samadhana Mate Vandori Samadhana Mate Vivekananda Prakashito Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Madhavana Madhavana
Hare Krishna.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोदश डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोदश डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहिए श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की। गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. I don't know if Jai Madhava Prabhu is online. If not, we can do the announcements for book distribution first. Today, there is one festival a little far, and Adin Prabhu and Vaishnava Toshini Prabhu left already for that festival. And we will be going to other local spots here for book distribution. Western team is going to, do you know where they're going? Yes, that's Petaluma where Adin Prabhu went. And some places that will be announced soon on the WhatsApp group. And some devotees today are going for door-to-door book distribution in Fremont, in San Ramon, Dublin area as well. And there are some Diwali festivals that are happening also in Cupertino. Some devotees are going there. So if you'd like to join any of these festivals for book distribution, please let us know. You can reach any of the Sankirtan leaders here. Achyuta Kumar Prabhu is here, who goes out every Saturday. He loads all the books. He carries everything. He loads the devotees in the car. He will take them, everybody, to book distribution. And then after distributing books, he brings them back, drops them in their houses, and then goes back home. So if you want to join him, then it will be full service available. You can join him as well. Or you can join any other teams that are there going out today. Thank you so very much. Are there any other announcements? There is a book packing that will go on in the parking lot as soon as the prasadam is taken. This book packing is very important because all the books that we are able to distribute is because they're carefully packing every book. And Venudhari Prabhu and Tarun Prabhu has been leading this for decades, but still they don't get tired. I have a picture of him sitting on the book boxes and in bliss, enjoying the book packing. So if you want to join, please reach out to Venudhari Prabhu, and then he can guide you on how what you can do to assist him. Any other announcements? Okay, I don't see Jai Madhav Prabhu, so we can do the prasadam prayers.
Hare Krishna. Oh. Sharira Vidyaja Chorendiya Dahika Jive Fele Vishaya Sagore Dharmade Jivayati Dobo Moy Sudurmati Take Cheta Katina Samsare Krishna Borodoyamor Gori Bare Jivaja Swaprasad Dandalino Bhai Sayanam Vidabha Shri Shri Radha Krishna Guna Gao Premila Go Shri Chaitanya Nida Premila Go Shri Chaitanya Nidai Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Swapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvasone Vajayate Prasade Saiva Dukhanam Aniraso Vajayate Prasana Chetaso Yashu Buddhipaya Vatishate Tvayopa Budga Shad-garbhas Rasulankara Chachita Uttisha Bhojino Dasas Tavamayam Jayemahi Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasadam Ki. Also, Parikshit, today's cooks were Manjri Gopika Mataji, Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, and Ramesh Prabhu, and prasadam will be served in the picnic area. Hare Krishna.